Welcome to the studio, and today I'm going to be chatting to the wonderful Mr. Tony Rollinson.
Me?
Yeah, writer, author, journalist, creative. There's not much I can't say really.
Yeah, cake maker. No, I don't make cake.
No. But I'd imagine if you did make cakes, they'd be...
Oh, no. All different Smarties on top, representing all the different types of music that come from Portsmuf.
Yeah, I love that. Straight into a music analogy. Straight into a music analogy, because you know what, guys? There's no one I know that loves music more than Tony does. Okay, he's a genuine lover of music and the arts in general. How did it start then, Tony?
For me, first gig I ever went to was an anarchist punk gig, and I just thought, this is all the stuff I'm not getting told at school, or people don't tell me about. Where do I get more of stuff that I haven't been told about in life? And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it for me.
It got into your bones.
Yeah, and you know what it's like when you go to music and you've gone to go barmy at the gig with your mates, but something connects way deeper. You actually like stuff, and you go, God, how did they do? That's brilliant. How did they do it? And I love that side of it without ever wanting to practice hard enough to become any good myself.
I've recorded you and you play great, so we'll talk about that later. I think you have a very good awareness, and you associate the music that you love with, subcultures like, for example, the punk ethic, which connects with the music. That's a different thing these days. You could have a bunch of young people who are best buddies. One could be a skater, one could be a punk, one could be really into their dance music. But that's like youth subculture is a kind of different thing there. It's not necessarily musically representative, is it?
No, I mean, my big year at school, and I remember music, was 1979, so the Clash are going strong, specials are happening, but there was great electronic music, like I Feel Love by Donna Summer, and Gary Newman was just starting, and everything collided together, so I think that was a formative thing for me. There was everything there. So you heard ABBA, and went, wow, they're great. The records are great, and you didn't. I like that as much as I like after punk stuff.
Yeah.
And so everything was there, and so that. But it was hard finding out about it back then, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, we go and buy our copies, wouldn't we, of the Enemy, Melody Maker, Smash Hits, Kerrang, whatever subculture you were into, and you look for column inches on something, a band that were coming through perhaps, and it was really important because as a young person, I think you'll all agree with me out there that you almost feel at certain times that artist, only yourself really knows that artist.
Yeah.
It's a personal thing, isn't it? A personal connection. Yeah,
and if you get a record company telling you to like something, let's be honest, that happens all the time. It happened back then, certainly. That could be all right, but in my experience, we were not getting told about the best stuff. So that's why I mentioned that gig. You happen to go to something, and they're basically going, go and find this stuff out for yourself. We'll give you a few pointers, see what you think, and that was it for me. It was just like I wanted to know what was on the edges.
Yeah.
Without knowing that it was the edge.
I guess. If you look at playlisted Radio 1 music as it was at the time, there's always going to be terrible music. But the thing is, if you listen to anything over and over again, because it's on the radio at work, or when you're on the building site or whatever, that's going to get into your head, isn't it? So it does seem really strange. How did you kind of find out, certainly in Portsmuf, about alternative bands, stuff that was very much more left field of the pop scene?
I used to go to. Do you remember Subway Records?
I do.
I used to go there and just look for weird punk singles that were coming out, but look at the notice board. So it was very physical. It wasn't online. It wasn't through the NME. So I was just absorbed. My first stuff that I saw was stuff connected with Portsmuf, because people were doing their own shows and had put stuff on a notice board.
Yeah, it's funny. When I was in my early teens, I was obviously influenced by the music and sounds that I'd hear from my mum and dad, from my sisters. You know, so it could be anything from T-Rex to Shirley Bassey, to recordings of trains going along railway tracks. You know, that's a whole other interview, by the way. But then when I was 16, okay, and this is back before. These are the days when you didn't need ID to get into a club, really, necessarily, or anything like that. And my slightly older sister Lizzie, she said, "Come with me down Portsmouth Poly on a Friday night," and then suddenly discovered this other world of alternative music and alternative sounding guitar bands, touring bands, playing live. You know, in the old venue, which is now a swimming pool, I do believe, in Museum Road. Yeah. And I don't think I ever looked back. I thought, this is me. I want to be part of this. You know, and then the ball starts rolling, doesn't it?
It does, and especially if you really fall in love with a band and they can play.
What was the first local band that you fell in love with?
So I really loved Empty Fish. For me, I just thought, God, they are this city made flesh, and they're stood there, you know. And they were the first band that again, because I just go back to the Clash, who I think were a magnificent band, great albums, great singles, great tunes. But live, they were unbelievable. They could be unbelievable. Like literally as good as anything you will ever see. They could be.
They had that anarchic ethic, and because they were essentially a kind of surf garagey band with a post-punk ethic, right?
And they'd worked out to look great. And years later, I worked with them, and none of it was an accident. Their attention to detail was amazing.
Yeah.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
Like they never rehearsed. They were full-on shows at a rehearsal where they were on the whole time. That's what they were, and it was, the energy around it was fantastic. But just to stand there when all this stuff was going on and just look so fucking cool, which they did.
Yeah.
And they came from our city.
Their gigs earn themselves a national reputation.
Yeah. There's, you know, like, I don't know, the one where the Shark got taken to Reading. Shark had the best night out ever in the history of anything, you know, and it's funny, and I mean genuinely, but Portsmouth is a funny city.
Yeah.
And there's a whole part of the thing why bands get on and don't get on. That sense of humour is a massive part of Portsmouth.
Yeah. I was talking to Steve Duffield the other day.
Steve Duffield, I saw that interview.
Yeah, and we were saying that you know, there's perhaps the island mentality, but it makes it different perhaps to other cities. Maybe I'm being biased. Maybe I'm just looking at it through Portsmouth spectacles. But I find that this city's got this kind of grimy underbelly, which gives it its maverick spirit. It has to keep reinventing itself on its own physical, geographical location, right? And I think that gives it a very specific spirit, and that rubs off on the artistry of the city, whether it's live music or a band, or maybe something else completely different. What do you think about that?
Yeah. For me, from the point of view is that when you live in Portsmouth, not every band on every tour was coming to play here, so you would have to go to other places. And if you're a bit younger and you maybe weren't travelling at that point, you were stuck with who visited and who was around you here. And I think that at certain points you had really exciting bits within a scene within Portsmuf because someone's gone, I'm going to open up this venue and just going to put bands on. And I'm not being funny, like, it was mainly Portsmuf bands, I would say.
Yeah.
It just was, because one or two people had put nights on and gave a fuck. And,
but you know, that success and drive of local artistry, that wasn't just the bands, it was the technicians around it as well. Look at the amount of sound engineers and lighting engineers and other promoters, people involved in the music industry that are out there internationally that people probably don't even know about. You know, it's a really fantastic, hard-working platform to start from. Leads me into the next area I want to discuss with you. You do venture into management and journalism later, but before that, I want to talk about the book. All right, 20 Misspeaks, because that was a single most important publication to come out of the city in modern times, and it was not just a great thing for you, but it brought so many artists together. Come on, tell me, how did it come around, and what was it about?
Left the city for a bit, came back, couldn't believe no one was getting any help, but I had read what I considered the greatest music book of all time, which is England's Dreaming by John Savage, and I thought, oh, I'd love to do something like that for Portsmuf, but it was only going to be a one-page article. That's all it was going to be, you know, because I was like, well, there can't be that much to write about or talk about. And like sort of 2 weeks later, I was like, oh my God, no one else is going to tell this story.
Yeah.
So I'll do it. But back then there was no internet. It was really, really, really hard getting in touch with people.
How did you kind of put yourself out there to artists?
So I just went to Barry Rutter at the News, who was the entertainments writer at the time, and said, "Oh, can you just put a little bit in for me?" And he put a picture of the Cranes, because they were the biggest, most well-known Portsmuf band. So that, and it was just like, "Oh, give me a ring if you're okay to be interviewed for the book." But loads of people didn't get in touch because they didn't believe it was real. They didn't believe it was going to be done half well, and all these things. So loads of people later on, when the book had come out, went, "Oh my God, I so wish." But the people who did come to me some of them were incredibly sussed because they knew the importance of a backstory. So some of them who come out pretty well in the book is because they understood that as well as the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, yeah, the book came out, and you got to remember there was no one proof in it. I was doing interviews until I was transcribing everything until 3 o'clock in the morning, and re-wiping and using the same cassette that I'd used the night before, night after night after night for about 4 months. I was just doing that, you know, like, and that was my life. And then I started to connect with people who could do bits of art and photography.
Right, but people. So after that, and you pulled all this stuff together. I think that book is a real success. Was a real success. Is still a real success. People still talk about it today, and there was a follow-on vinyl cut. 14 Misspeaks.
Yeah, there was, you know, which I'm proud of because it's a very condensed musical selection, like, you know.
And some all-day live shows featuring bands.
Yeah. So at the Wedge we had, I don't know, 15 bands on one night. Some doing acoustic slots, like Cranes, which was incredibly kind. Steve Olimpini's band, the Mildmanor Janitors, they learnt paperback writer for me for the night, which was incredibly sweet, you know. And then one of the bands were called Screeper. They were first on, just did 3 songs, and I ended up managing them.
Yeah.
You
so
know.
That's the kind of follow-on kind of thing. You started to move into management from that.
Yeah, it's like one of your mates managing, you know, wasn't it? But it's not like any industry behind
That's
it.
the best way, isn't it? Because you're going to love what they do genuinely.
Yeah, it's like everything. Like, you know, you're happy, you're proud of what you've done, but you're like, oh, I wish I'd known that and that then, because I could have opened this and that door. And so there's a bit of that. But again, at least it was me helping, you know, and it's better to have someone talking about you than you talking about yourself.
Yeah.
Even just that helps. You know,
Yeah.
even just that one thing.
Yeah. So that management, and you did a little bit of music journalism as well, didn't you? Was that round? Do they go hand in hand?
Yeah, it's because obviously your flavour of the month for a few months. You've got a value. If you're saving people in London time for them to have to go and research something, and you're prepared to do it, you kind of get on. So I would write some stuff, and I would end up on guest lists at shows in London, and I'd meet a few more people. And did I enjoy that? Not so much. You know, if I'm honest, I didn't enjoy it. But it led to one extraordinary thing where I started working with Thirst, who had a real shout. They had a real shout. And we did a night.
Chris Perrin, songwriter, lovely guy.
Yeah, and all the guys, they were incredibly talented, and every bit of work they just threw themselves into.
But how did you get, as an example, because you've done many things, Tony, but as an example, using Thirst as an example, how did you get from managing them as a local band to getting them into New York and playing New York? By
loads of coincidences. Can't say it was a great plan, you know, but by then I had worked with Screeper and Dave Jones, who is one of my closest friends, and we laugh at everything together. And
very talented guy.
And I was working with him, and then he wanted to take a break from music, but an American label was interested in what he was doing through an American radio show. That their theme song was his song, which he didn't know about it for years, and suddenly it's like, your song's great, it's the theme song for this show. And when he didn't want to do it, I was able to bumped into Thirst and start working with them. But in the UK, we got invited to headline, sold out, the Camden Palace, which is now Coco, on a Tuesday night, which was the industry. It was Steve Lamac's Feet First.
Yes.
So for all the work we did, that was the night. That was the night where that was their chance. That was their break. You know, that was for all the work. And I think they toured the UK 6 times or something, and then America, you know, and we would go to Europe and all of these things. But all of it was, everyone on the crew was Portsmuf, everyone was local. To something that I've been talking to lots of people about for a number of years. I've always seen it as a really integral part of the artistic process. For me as a producer, it's these skills I'm about to explain are more important than your microphone techniques. They're more important than any technical tools that you use, and it's about connecting with the people you're working with. So that could be on a short-term basis as a producer of a record, or it could be in a much deeper way when you're working with a band, when you're on tour, because you need to know them and you need to put your full trust into them and trust them with your life and soul to get the best results musically, right? I really believe that. So how can you move forward without that? You understand that, right? Emotional connections in music. Yeah, I guess that's one of the few cards I've actually got. You know, when push comes to shove and you look back, that's really. But what I did have was, I think we can do better here. I think we can do this, and this. I think we can do it. You know, and you need that. And if in some small way at times that was one of my roles, that was great, but I can't do what you do and go, I can make you sound better at all. You know, I just can't do what Jonny Haskett does. I can't do it. I haven't got a clue.
Right.
Literally, I've got zero clue. And so.
But you know what you're good. You know what you're good at, and you know that within all of these processes and with all of these factions and jobs, that you have to have that connection.
I'll tell you one thing I appreciated as much as anything was a safe driver. When you've got a bunch of young people who you have to look after, I appreciated the people that did that. I'm telling you, a safe driver. I was like, thank you, and I love those people. Yeah, but I am into music, and I'm always like, how do you make it better? How did the great bands come up with those moments? Yeah, because you can have a good song, but it's got to be a great recording, hasn't it?
Can a great song be made when we're talking about a group of people here, can that be made and, more importantly, delivered to an audience by people that don't know each other, or does it have to have that deeper emotional connectivity between them in order to do it?
I know where you're going. I've been to jazz jams where people don't know each other and they're just playing, and it's a
technically phenomenal,
highly elevated experience of stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
But that's not a song. Perhaps I should rephrase it. Perhaps we're talking about songs with lyrics, a meaning, a dynamic, a journey, a story, rather than, you know, technical ability. Because you can have soulful delivery of music in any way. I think, you know, I was been listening to one of the bands recently that I was a massive fan of as a young person. I'm still a big fan of the Chameleons.
Yeah.
And one of the few bands where as a teenager I'd learn all of their songs, I'd learn all of the lyrics, and it became part of me, right? Could they have done that? Could that have been delivered, and that those messages, those lyrics, those bass lines, guitar lines, those drum patterns, if they hadn't had that interlocking emotion?
I can give you the best example, because you've got to go back to source for the best example of it's always the Beatles. So they do all those years' work in Hamburg.
Yeah,
It
right.
isn't Ringo.
Right.
He comes in at the last minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When they realise that if they're going to be a top band, they need the best drummer.
Yeah.
I'm not saying in the UK, but certainly in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Only the best.
And he went on to do a very internationally successful doorbell business. Yeah.
Was it Ivor the Engine or something as well?
Yeah. Well, no, he did. It was
Thomas the Tank
Thomas
Engine.
the Tank Engine, wasn't it? He did the voiceover.
But that's the ultimate example, is that, you know, four of them are together, and they replace one of them at the last seconds before they become famous.
Yeah.
Because the journey, the cards have changed, the opportunity has changed, and it's like, yeah, I've no idea if they agonised over Pete Best or not. You know, I don't know, and I don't know how they feel about it. But my God, they made the right decision. In so many ways, because he's such an interesting drummer.
Yeah.
He's just not normal as a drummer. You know?
Yeah, sure.
He's not a normal drummer.
I love the fact that you use football analogies for music. I mean, we go to football together sometimes, and I think.
But you know what it's like when, I don't know, you know, when a Portsmuf lad or someone who's come through our academy plays for you, it does mean more.
Yeah.
It does.
Of course
You're
it does.
willing them on so much.
Yeah.
You do.
If you think about it, you've got Fratton Park. I'm so glad it's been slowly redeveloped and it hasn't gone out of the city like so many other clubs, stadiums. And if you think about it, on a match day, there are people amassing in the street. Obviously, there's lots of people that come from outside the city. There's a greater area, but it's like this. It is like a church. If you think of this core thing, right, there's people filling the streets, coming from every angle, walking, looking at the pub economies, you know, and eventually to this, and all coming together in this singular place with a singular cause, with a singular spirit.
I think it is like a church, but with a slight caveat that it's church on Christmas Eve, where the drunks come in as well, and it's a bit rowdy, and that's how I take it.
Well, it wouldn't be Pompey otherwise, would it?
Because there's people who just go and sit quietly and just enjoy it, and then but you've got this backbone of people, and they're not just in the Fratton end, you know, loads of them in North Stand and stuff, and it's like, who want to be heard to bring it back to the musical stuff. They want to be heard, and they are not going to go down without a fight.
Yeah, right.
And that you can.
It's a great representation.
Yeah,
it's a great representation of.
That's mic drop, isn't it?
Well, no, that is a fantastic cultural representation of the sea, actually. Yeah. But you know, artistically, using that, it's really, really good.
It is.
What's next for you, Tony? As we move into our, you got your bus pass yet?
I've got the train. Yeah, I have. 60, just turned 61.
Yeah.
Don't feel it,
I'm years away, by the way.
But don't feel it, but that you know that you are. And I do ask myself. I've even got a genre of music and stuff. I'd love to discover a band doing a certain genre of music and help, because it's something I would just like to give a go. It's not going to happen, but there are things I'm interested in. Obviously, I'm a publisher in my life, so as well as doing 20 Missed Beats, I'm an environmental publisher. So the written word is still massively important to me. But it's communication, and you're back to this thing of when I look back at music. If you see a jigsaw, I'll just use punk rock. It could be anything. There's a jigsaw puzzle of punk rock, and in the middle is the Clash and the Pistols and the Banshees and all these great bands you love. And what I've realised over the years is what used to be up in the clouds, it would just say it'd be cloud on the jigsaw, is now, oh, who came from Portsmuf at the same time, or what's happening there now? I'm starting to realise that the jigsaw puzzle is never complete. And we're the jigsaw puzzle. And it's like, do you want to be in the jigsaw puzzle? Well, you better get on with it. And all I ever said to any band I work with, don't fucking wait, get on with it. You'll write another 2 songs next week. And if you don't, then, but don't wait. Just get on with it. Do rehearse, do gigs, look great, do record. Don't wait for anything. It's not going to come to you. It's supposed. Again, you're back to football teams. It's a moment. The football team will change, and it should. But while you're hot, you're hot. Bands have their moments, and I think that is when someone can help. Is that when someone's going, oh my god, that's actually good. Yeah. And I want to step in and push you forward.
Love that, Tony. We're nearly there. So I've got one question for you to finish off, okay? I think I'm going to ask everybody this. So AI is coming, all right? Will you allow a robot to come into your house to fix your kitchen sink?
No, I've got too many good friends. Again, one of the beauties of Portsmuf is if you call in a company to come and do something around your house, it costs you X amount of notes. When you live in Portsmouth, loads of musicians I know are really handy around the house. And it's like, why? I'd rather, I will invite people I know who have got super skills, not just as musicians, but as other things. So no AI robot for me. Okay. But I can imagine that, it'd be quite cool, wouldn't it, a robot?
Well,
As long as it looked like a robot, I'm not a person. Like a chunky, clunky one for me.
Anyway, big hugs, mate. Thanks so much, man. Cheers, baby.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.